Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. If you're someone who loves efficient, totally focused learning, well, you are definitely in the right place today. We're going to take a really structured, comprehensive look at something literally every single gardener, whether you're a beginner or a total pro, has to face: keeping your green friends alive. Because today, we aren't just talking about gardening. We are talking about survival. We're going to build a real-life, highly practical toolkit for garden survival, and we're looking directly at the data and the actual costs involved.
But, before we really get our hands dirty here, I want to pose a question to you. What do you think is the single most important tool to save a dying plant? I mean, is it the absolute most expensive watering system? The deepest shovel? Keep that question in the back of your mind as we go through this explainer today, because while we are absolutely going to cover the entire life cycle of plant care, the ultimate climax of our plant's journey and the true secret to plant rescue actually lies in the art of pruning. Okay, let's get into the data. Our foundational source for today's explainer is this incredibly practical, comprehensive catalog of landscaping tools. It comes complete with their specific uses and their typical price ranges in Indian rupees. We really aren't dealing in abstract textbook theories today. We are using this exact catalog to build a real-life, step-by-step survival guide for your plants, mapping out exactly what you need, what it actually does, and what it's going to cost you.
So here is our roadmap. A plant's life and your intervention in it follows a very specific structural arc. First, we dig and plant. Second, we water and feed. Third, we train and support. And finally, and honestly most critically for survival, we prune and save. We're going to follow this life cycle stage by stage, matching the catalog data to the exact tools you need.
All right, let's kick things off with stage 1, breaking ground with digging tools. You simply cannot have a healthy plant without the right foundation. And notice the stark contrast in utility here for preparing that soil. On the budget-friendly side, we've got the hand trowel and the Kirby, both ranging from just 100 to 400 rupees. These are your precision instruments, right? Perfect for digging small holes, gentle weeding, delicate transplants. But if you're dealing with really compact, unforgiving earth that threatens to just choke a root system before it even starts, you need heavy-duty intervention. That's when you step up to a pickaxe ranging from 500 to 1200 rupees or the garden fodder to break that hard soil. You really have to match the force of the tool to the resistance of the environment. Moving right along to stage 2, nurturing life, watering essentials. So, the plant is in the ground, and we transition into the next crucial phase, which is hydration. Let's be real for a second. Have you ever completely soaked yourself, or maybe your entire porch, trying to awkwardly angle a heavy watering can up into a high-hanging basket? It's super frustrating, but our data provides a perfectly targeted solution, the watering wand. Ranging from 300 to 1,500 rupees, its specific use case is giving you that extended reach for hanging baskets and pots. Instead of battling gravity and making a huge mess, a simple specialized tool like this solves the problem cleanly, ensuring the water actually goes into the soil and not all over your shoes. Now, this comparison brilliantly illustrates the vast spectrum of solutions available for the exact same problem: slow watering. We can contrast two extreme price points from our source data here. On one end, you have the ultimate budget hack, a DIY bucket with holes for simple slow watering. It costs practically nothing, maybe 100 to 300 rupees to set up. On the other end, you've got an efficient automated drip irrigation kit starting at 500 and easily scaling up past 3,000 rupees. But they both accomplish the vital task of ground seep watering. It just goes to show you, you can successfully nurture a plant whether you've got 100 rupees or 3,000 rupees to spend.
Okay, stage 3, guiding growth with training tools. Once a plant is watered and actively growing, it often becomes surprisingly vulnerable to its own weight or the elements. Training tools are the essential structural support system that literally keeps a vulnerable garden upright. They protect stems from snapping in the wind and guide vines right toward the sun. Depending on your plant's needs, the catalog shows us everything from simple bamboo canes to plant support rings, all the way up to full garden nets and trellises. It really highlights that support isn't just one size fits all. You have to assess the plant and choose the right structural reinforcement. And check out this fantastic data point: 100 rupees. That is the midpoint price listed for plant ties, either twine or tape. For a mere 100 rupees, you can secure a heavy, fruit-laden tomato plant to a cane, literally saving it from collapsing and snapping its main stem.
It completely proves that saving your plants from physical destruction does not require a massive budget, just the right, simple tool applied at the absolute right time. Which brings us to the climax of our life cycle, stage 4, pruning, tools that save plants. So while watering and supporting nurture a plant, intervening with the correct pruning tools is the ultimate way to actively rescue it. This is basically plant surgery. When disease strikes, when branches break, or when a plant overgrows and chokes itself out of sunlight, pruning is what saves the patient. But listen, you absolutely must make the right cut with the right tool. Notice this vital contrast between these two hand pruners. A bypass pruner works like scissors, making clean cuts on live branches. An anvil pruner works like a knife coming down on a cutting board, crushing as it cuts. Its specific use is for hard or dry wood. If you use an anvil pruner on a soft live stem, you're going to crush the plant's tissue, inviting disease and potentially killing the very branch you were trying to save. Understanding this distinction is literally the difference between saving a plant and destroying it. Let's ground this lifesaver lesson in reality and look at the typical price ranges for these precision pruning tools. To get a solid bypass pruner to protect your live stems, you're looking at an investment of about 500 to 1,000 rupees. An anvil pruner runs slightly less, from 400 to 900. And for the most delicate work, garden scissors range from just 200 to 400 rupees. Guys, these aren't just tools. They are essential triage equipment for your garden. Of course, sometimes the required surgery is major. When a large disease branch threatens the whole tree, standard hand pruners just won't cut it. That's when you bring out the heavy-duty lifesavers. Lopping shears, priced between 800 and 1,800 rupees, give you the leverage to easily cut thick branches. Head shears allow you to shape and trim overgrown bushes. And for the truly large branches, a pruning saw, running from 300 to 900 rupees, is totally required to make a clean amputation to save the rest of the tree. But let's bring it back to the absolute most accessible form of plant rescue. Consider those garden scissors again. For as little as 200 to 400 rupees, this simple tool allows you to perform fine trimming and deadheading. Now, deadheading is just the act of snipping off dead flowers. But why does this matter so much? Because by removing the dying parts, you signal the plant to stop wasting its precious energy on making seeds and instead redirect that energy into fresh roots, new leaves, and vibrant new blooms. You literally breathe new life into a struggling plant with a few simple snips. So as we wrap up our data-driven journey through the Plant Survival Toolkit, I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. We often think of caring for something as purely adding to it, adding water, adding food, adding support. But as the data on pruning tools shows us, sometimes is cutting a plant back the only way to move it forward? I absolutely love that idea. I hope this structured look at the tools of the trade leaves you empowered and ready to step into your own garden with a true survival mindset. Thanks so much for learning with me today.